If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my.
I done been around the world. Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Player Performance College Football Edition. We are in week 7, and it is getting this season is just going way too fast, but this is where the numbers get good, and by God, the bets get aggressive. I am Gunz Picks, and I'm joined once again with my guy, Coach Rick. What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
It's a beautiful day to be alive. Can't believe it's week 7 already. I mean, that's just, before we know it, we'll be talking about bowl games. But like you said, what it does, we got 6 weeks worth of data, which only makes us sharper. So,
when the data gets stronger, you get into conference play, you have revisionist history, you have a lot of good matchups, and by God, the card is getting longer and longer. You got to check out what we're doing. Had a great week last week. Even the free plays were smacking, even the top 25 as always. But we're going to be doing it here. If you haven't watched this show before, we're going to break down 4 of the best games on the board in the top 25, and of course, Coach and myself will give you the couple of peaks outside the top 25 to give you to the plays that paid the bills, as they say. I'm trying to spit it out now, but without further ado, let's get into the first play on the board. And do we have a doozer here with Alabama going against Missouri in Memorial Stadium? Columbia, Missouri will be rocking at 12 p.m. Saturday. You have Missouri as a short dog. They have performed well, especially at home in these situations. Of course, Bama coming off that revenge win, backdoor cover style against Vandy, really crushed my ticket there. But I digress. I move on. What are your thoughts on this game, Coach?
If you're looking for an upset, man, I'll tell you what. I really like Eli Drinkwitz. If you haven't seen him do a press conference, like go to YouTube and look him up, man. Sometimes he'll channel his inner Star Wars. The guy's kind of a nerd, but what a great coach. Over the last 3 years, Missouri 26-5. That counts this year, and then the last 2, 26-5. He's just doing a phenomenal job. And people will talk. I know they're going to say, "Well, Missouri didn't play anybody. I mean, look at their schedule." As a coach, like I get it, I understand it, but you still had to go out and play. So it's not like they didn't play anyone. They did play Kansas, beat them. They played South Carolina. South Carolina's 2-2. Well, South Carolina's a pretty good 2-2 football team. The losses are to Missouri and Vanderbilt, who combined are 10-1. So it's not like they're playing a bunch of slouches. Yeah, they played UMass and I don't know, some other whatever, right? And you know what they did? They beat the shit out of those teams like they're supposed to, right? So you have a Missouri team that, offensively, I mean, they're phenomenal. I mean, they are really good. 45 points a game, and look who they played. Well, yeah, I would expect them to score 45 points a game playing some of the teams they did. But the big thing about Missouri is their defense. And you can go back to last year, too. Like, this is one of the best defenses in the country. This might be, I would say they're definitely the most overlooked defense in the country. Number 1 against the run. So you talk about, well, they didn't play anybody. Well, when they played UMass, that was their last game 2 weeks ago. They played UMass. UMass had 19 yards rushing. So when you hold, look at who they play. Well, they held them to 19 yards rushing. And then you say, well, it was UMass. Okay. Well, the week before that, they held South Carolina to -9 yards. That's South Carolina. That's an SEC football team that had negative yards rushing against Missouri. So say all you want about they didn't play anybody or they haven't been tested. Like I think it's bullshit. Like, this is a great coach, a great football team, a great quarterback who is from Pennsylvania. I've evaluated the kid coming out of high school. Central York, Bo Pribula, went to Penn State, plays behind, Drew Aller, who, I didn't rate him as high. I'll talk about him later. But Bo Pribula, outstanding. So Missouri, in my mind, Missouri is a very, very good football team. Yes, Alabama is too. Alabama has proven, since the loss at Florida State, that they are worthy of, their number 8 ranking, I believe it is. Offensively, Ty Simpson, talked about it early when we did the conference previews. Like, he's going to be okay. He's veteran. He knows what he's doing, and it shows. I mean, he completes over 70% of his passes. This passing offense is outstanding. They move the football up and down the field. They're explosive. Number 5 pass offense in the country. What they don't do well is run the football. Are they going to run it against Missouri? No, probably not anyway. So expect to see the ball in the air from Alabama. Also, Alabama, of course, very good defensively, just like Missouri. They only give up 16 points a game. That's why they're 5-1 against the pass. I mentioned this last week. They've held teams to 130 yards passing per game. And some of that, I mentioned last week, just because teams haven't really thrown the ball as much against them. But here's how it's going to go. Here's the recipe for Saturday. I can hear, my former college coach, Frank Signetti. I can hear him saying it right now. Men, we're going to play great championship defense, and I think Missouri does that. 2, we're going to run the ball. Missouri runs the ball for 292 yards a game, by the way, 3rd in the country. We're going to play great special teams. We're going to maybe block a kick, and we're not going to give up returns, and et cetera, et cetera. We're going to get great quarterback play out of Bo Pribula, and then we're going to win the turnover battle, and that's going to lead to a win. Missouri at home has won 15 games in a row. You don't think they're going to rise up to the occasion to play an Alabama team that people consider elite, blah blah blah, great program, whatever. So this is the one. I would definitely go Missouri plus 3.5, but I would also sprinkle a little bit on the money line here, because I believe this is a prime upset special, Missouri over Alabama.
I think we're in alignment here. I put the hat on for a reason. Maybe I was giving you some, a little bit of an idea of where I'm going to be going with this one. But my God, a subliminal message. That's what I was going to look for in my head there. But yeah, Bama's 4-1 on the year. They're coming off that revenge win against Vandy, 30-14. But yeah, everybody says Missouri. You haven't really played anybody. But they're going against this Bama defense, and their weakness is the rush game. And let me tell you why. 230 yards given up to FSU. 427 yards given up to 6.9 yards per carry given up to Georgia. 7.1 yards per carry given up to Vandy last week. Even though Vandy didn't look its best ball, they were held to a lot of points. They were still able to move the ball. I just think they just didn't run it enough. Not a lot of attempts in that game. But Missouri is a team that's going to run the football. They have a good 1-2 punch, regardless of the losses that they had. Brady Cook's gone. Luther Bird III's gone. Ahmad Hardy, 7.1 yards per carry. Jamal Roberts, 7.3 yards per carry. This team averages 292 rushing yards per game, 5.9 yards per carry. This sounds like numbers from a triple option team here, folks. And then you have Bama's offense. They want to pass the ball, right? Coach said it. 325 passing yards per game, 70.5% pass completion rate. But you talk about this Missouri defense. They only give up 141 passing yards per game, 48.5 pass completion rate, and their opponents so far. But got exposed a little bit against South Carolina in the passing game, 302 passing yards. Whatever. I think this Missouri team is going to be ready to go. Why? Because it's a revenge angle. Missouri got their ass kicked last year, 34-0. In Tuscaloosa, 16-point road dogs in that situation. Now you're seeing them as a short dog here. Big line shift from game A to game B. But you have to look at the situation for Bama when they went into that game. That was a bounce back for them because they went on the road to go play Tennessee, and they got their butt whooped. So Missouri was just raw meat for those dogs, ready for another win. They couldn't lose trying to get in the playoffs. Then you got to look at Missouri. 8-3 ATS as a home dog under Eli Drakowitz. 4-1 ATS in the last 3 years as a conference home dog. Give me the Tigers, baby. Missouri plus 3.5. And yes, you can Salt Bay that stuff on the money line if you want, baby. Because they're going to win that game outright. Let's go into the next game, shall we? Ohio State going against Illinois at another stadium named Memorial. Come on, guys. Let's be a little creative with the stadium names. Everybody's got Memorial Stadium, but this is in Champaign, Illinois. This is 12 p.m. kick on Saturday. Ohio State's looking like the best team in college football, but this is only their second road game of the year. And you have an Illinois team that maybe a little bit hungry, got that punch in the back of their throat, felt that blood when they got their butt whipped by Indiana. Are they going to be ready for this game? Coach, what do you think?
Well, somebody's going home with the Illabuck Trophy, by the way. Interesting rivalry game. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Coach Rick Trivia, we'll throw this out there. The winner of the Ohio State-Illinois game gets the Illabuck Trophy, which is a wooden turtle. Yeah. So whatever. These two teams actually haven't played since 2017. And of course now, it's going to be kind of sporadic with, 87,000 teams in the Big Ten. They obviously won't play every year. But in the rivalry, Ohio State has won the last 9 in a row, for what that's worth. I think the difference in this game really is just defense. Ohio State's one of the better defensive units in the country. Illinois and Brett Bielema, he's a defensive-minded coach, loves, run the football, go back to his Wisconsin days with, 350-pound dudes on the O-line and just hammering the ball, running power and, playing great defense. This is not how Illinois operates. They're actually not very good, especially against the pass. They're actually 113th in the country, giving up 252 yards a game through the air. Last week, two of the picks that I believe hit early were my guy Ryan Brown from Purdue playing against Illinois last week. Ryan threw for over 300 yards last week against an Illinois pass defense that they're just not good. So I think that's probably the difference. And if you look at Ohio State and their young quarterback, Julian Sayin, I know he's a redshirt freshman, but I don't know if you know this, Gunz, but he's completing 80% of his passes. Part of that's him, but part of it's also Ryan Day and the offensive staff. They're putting him in good position. They're putting him in good spots. They're making great play calls, and he's coming through. So I think they take advantage of Illinois' pass defense. And Ohio State, this is still, they're a top 30 scoring team. They score 37 points a game. I know they went on the road to Washington. They only I think they scored 24 points in a win over the Huskies. But I think PJ Fleck said it best last week when Ohio State and Minnesota played. He said, basically, you have to pick your poison, meaning if you want to shut down the Ohio State passing game, then a guy by the name of Bo Jackson, not that Bo Jackson, but Bo Jackson, that's the kid's name, and he's a damn good running back. He will run the ball all over you. And if you want to shut down Bo Jackson, then you better go defend Jeremiah Smith. Well, if you want to shut down Jeremiah Smith, you better shut down Carnell Tate, because he had 9 catches for $183 last week whenever you wanted to, cover and double cover and, play zone over the top of Jeremiah Smith. So I think Ohio State for me is going to win this game. I'm not sure about the number yet. I'm not there. I'll probably get there. But for me right now, my best look, which I like to play it almost every week, is simply Jeremiah Smith for an anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I like that prop look. I might be wearing this Illinois hat, but don't get it twisted here, folks. I'm not going to be taking this side, okay? I'm looking at another angle in this game to give you something a little bit. So did a little bit of research on this one. Of course, you look at these two teams coming into ranked opponents. You have Ohio State 5-0 on the year, second road game of the year. Illinois 5-1 on the year, but they had that bad loss against Indiana. I think the weak point here with Illinois, and this is going to be a tough spot when they're going against this Ohio State offense. They're not very good against the pass. You have Duke put up 356 passing yards. Indiana put 267 on them. USC put 364. Even Purdue put up over 300 on them, 302 in that game. Illinois defense has also given up over 400 yards of total offense in 4 out of their 6 opponents. The only opponents that didn't surpass that was Western Michigan and Western Illinois. Last time I checked, Western Illinois was an FCS opponent. This defense is a suspect to me. In conference play, Illinois has given up points. This is how many points they've given up: 63 to Indiana, 32 to USC, 27 to Purdue. That's in conference, right? Ohio State puts up points, 37 points per game this season. They got a great passing offense, of course. Coach alluded to that with Julian Sayin, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, and you have to watch for Bo Jackson in the backfield too in the running game. The team total in this is 31.5. So the way I would play this, quite frankly, I think they'll get over the team total here. So that's how I'm leaning here is Ohio State team total over. And while Ohio State has done very well in the defensive end, holding not giving up more than 10 points to anyone yet this season, and that includes teams like Washington, Ohio, and Texas. I mean, they've held them to under 10 points. I think the team total is a little bit high, but I'm not going to go and bite on that one. I'm going to bite on the over on this one. Ohio State over team total 31.5 is how I want to play that one. All right, next one on the board. Let's go to Autzen Stadium. Let's go to Eugene, Oregon, where the Ducks are quacking. You talk about speeches, Coach. That Dan Lanning can give himself a speech in a big game. Whiteout looks like a canvas to me is what he says. And by God, did they go out there and get a win on the road against Penn State, a fleeting Penn State at this point with Franklin head on the chopping block if you go ask people at Penn State. But I digress. Indiana versus Oregon, West Coast versus the East Coast. What are your thoughts on this game?
Dan Lanning can give a speech, but, man, you ever heard Curt Cignetti?
That's very true.
Yeah. So, and if you don't believe that Curt Cignetti can give a pretty good, speech, then just Google him. Yeah, you'll get that one. This should be a great football game, man. There's just two outstanding football teams, outstanding programs, great coaches, great coaching staffs. I think a lot of people, and I might have been part of this group for a minute, we thought Indiana would kind of, fall off a little bit. But man, if you watch them, like they might be better than last year. This is a great football team. Like they run the football, like they run the football like no one else, man. So they're going to run a lot of inside zone. They're going to run some outside zone. Oregon is a little bit more susceptible to the things on the edge. So, I'd expect them to try to take advantage of that a little bit more. But both teams are really good defensively, too. Oregon, gives up 12 points a game. I think they're a top 10 scoring D. I think they're third in the country against the pass. For Mendoza, the kid from Indiana, I saw him play when he was in high school. He was a QB in Florida the same time, my guy that's at Purdue, he was going to high school in Florida. So I got to see him play, and I thought he was outstanding. And then he went to Cal, had a decent year there. And, he's tearing it up there. Kurt does a great job with the quarterbacks that he's had through the years. So I would expect he'll play well. He's completing over 70% of his passes. I think he's only thrown one pick. On the other side, same deal. Dante Moore, I told you about him last year, coached against him in high school. He's from here in Michigan. He was 14 years old the first time I saw him. I knew he'd be special. I didn't know he'd be this special, though. The kid can throw. The ball comes flying out of his hand, and he's an athlete, too. He can run. You saw that last week against Penn State. That's one of the things that kind of did them in. And don't get me started on James Franklin. But, what gives, right? Indiana scores almost 48 points a game. Oregon scores 47. Indiana has the third best scoring defense in the country. Like, again, I said Missouri might be the most, underrated defense in the country. Indiana's probably right behind them. Like, these guys play defense too? Yeah, they do. So, what gives? Yeah, in a game like this, I kind of lean toward it's a game kind of like, Oregon and Penn State, where you had two pretty good offenses, two pretty good defenses, and they end up kind of just hammering each other, and they put points on the board. So I will, at this point, I'm going to lean toward the over in the game. But if I'm leaning toward the over, and if you like the over, if you're watching this and you like the over in this, I would urge you to go take a look. Go to DraftKings. click on Indiana, Oregon, and go to game props. And you're going to see one called both teams to score X, right? You're going to go down and you're going to see, both teams to score 20, 25, 30. So if you like the over, I would think it's because both teams are putting up some points. So right now, both teams to score 25 plus is plus money at plus 168. So that, for me, if I can, get to the over in this game, I think I'm going to play it that way, play both teams to score 25 at plus 168.
It's a great angle to look at this one because I got a little perplexed on the side. I'll give you my lead on the side on this one because I love both teams. I love Curt Cignetti. I've loved Curt Cignetti for years. If anybody's ever watched me on all these shows, I've been preaching about this guy when he was at James Madison. I've been preaching about him going over to Indiana and how you need to take his win total over. This guy doesn't lose, and he continues to do it over and over again. He's got it, but it's one of those situations that I'm a little hesitant because we've seen big East Coast Big Ten teams over to the West Coast, vice versa. West Coast teams go to the East Coast, and they go and they just look like they're still on the plane and they're going through jet lag. Both teams are 5-0 on the year, dominating their competition. So there's really nothing statistically I have to say about these teams. They're just doing everything they can. However, there's a little bit of question marks here with the Indiana side. 4 straight home games, how they started the year. They dominated in those spots. First road game in their previous game played Iowa 20-15. They put up their lowest offensive numbers on the road, 337 yards of total offense. This is something to watch in the future. Could we be seeing a team that is a good home team and a bad road team? We shall see. Indiana has had a plus 54 net yards for that game, which is the lowest yardage win that they had because they were dominating 100 plus against everybody. And Oregon's just been dominant at home. Plus 48-point differential, plus 373 net yard average. Yes, they really haven't played anybody at home. I get that. But they're doing what you're supposed to do when you're a good team. You crush them. You kill their soul. And that's what they're doing here with Dan Lanning. And I guarantee he'll have those guys pumped up for this one. Indiana is a team that can beat most teams other than teams in the top 10. In 2024, they lost to Ohio State 38-15. Notre Dame, my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, playoff 27-17, losing the yardage battle by over 100 yards in both of those spots. And this is the first time that Indiana's been a dog all season long. 0-2 ATS in those spots. Guess who it was against? Ohio State and Notre Dame. So with all that being said, Oregon just does well in these situations as a single-digit favorite. Am I going to be taking this game? Probably not, because I want to wait and see. I want to see if Indiana is truly they're a well-coached team. They're a great program. They have great players all across the board. But I lean towards this Oregon side. I think when they play at home, it's going to be a 3:30 on Saturday. They're just going to be revved up for this one. And I trust Dan Lanning and what he's doing over there. And I just don't see them losing at home. If this was a road game, maybe a different situation. But that minus 7.5 is telling for teams that should be closer statistically. They ain't. So I'm leaning towards the Oregon side here. Give me the favorite minus 7.5. I think they win by double digits. But I don't know if it's going to be on my VIP card. Next one up, baby. Let's go to the Red River shootout rivalry, whatever you want to call it these days, at the Cotton Bowl, Dallas, Texas. Let me grab my Texas hat. Yee-hoo! Hook 'em horns, baby. Am I going to be taking the horns? We'll see about that. Oklahoma going against Texas. This is a rivalry. Of course, Texas coming off that loss last week. Oklahoma has just been killing teams. They just beat Kent State. I mean, God, they crushed them 44-0. Didn't give up a single point. Maybe you had 0 points or under 3 in that one against Kent State. We'll see about that one. But, Coach, Red River rivalry. Who you got in this game? Yeah,
you can't call it shootout because you might have found some gun control people. I guess I don't know. But yeah, Red River rivalry. They've been playing it for years. Coincides with the Texas State Fair. So you're going to have just 300,000-400,000 people in and around the Cotton Bowl for this one. This one opened with Texas as a 3 or 3.5 point favorite, down to 1.5. And there's some speculation that John Mateer might play. I don't think he's going to, but I don't really care if he does or not because Michael Hawkins, I talked about him last week and shared with who he is. And he proved that he can handle the load. He's good enough. And he proved it last week. Like you mentioned, they beat Kent State 44 donut. But this is a defensive battle. And really, Oklahoma is the better defense, I think. And here I'm gonna go on a little tangent here because I have to, and that's because they're gonna play the Oklahoma defense is gonna be way too much for Arch Manning. I'm sorry. So Arch Manning came out of high school in Louisiana when he was a junior. Everybody started to rave about him, and I watched tape of him as a junior and as a senior. I've evaluated thousands of high school quarterbacks across the country. Arch Manning did not stand out in any way, shape, or form at all. He was very average to me. I think he's overrated. I don't like cutting down kids. Can he play quarterback at the college level? Yeah, sure he can. Is he a Heisman Trophy candidate? No, never. He never should have been, really. I really ask yourself this question, because Steve Spurrier, I think he asked the question last week or over the weekend. If Arch Manning was so good, then why did Quinn Ewers play all those games last year? So he is. I think he's overrated. And here's why he's not an elite quarterback. And there's a couple of them. And Drew Aller's another. I did not rate Drew Aller very high. I didn't rate Cade Klubnik very high. But what Arch Manning does or doesn't do is the ball does not fly out of his arm. He's not an elite thrower. Somebody put up a video meme, whatever you call it, of Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. Remember when he throws the steak and hits him in it? So they show that video, and then the next, then it's Arch Manning, and the arm action, the motion is almost exactly the same. It's hilarious. Arch Manning throws like Uncle Rico, but he's just not. He's not an elite level thrower. I don't think so. And then the other thing is he's just too slow. He does not have whatever it is. It's this mental process that goes into, and I mean, I could take an hour and explain it, but he just doesn't process stuff enough quickly, and the ball comes out too late. So I could find 50 clips of him doing that this year. So Oklahoma, this is the long way of saying that I think Oklahoma's defense dominates Texas's offense. And I like Oklahoma +3. That's where I got it. Now it's down to 1.5. I would lean Oklahoma on the money line.
I think we're aligned on this one. Yes, we're both wearing the Texas hat. But we were trying to fool you guys. That's what we were trying to do.
Jedi mind trick.
I am not going to be fading this Oklahoma team in this situation because there's a lot of check boxes that we need to look at this one. But you mentioned a lot of it, man. And I was thinking about this in the ride home. I was like, you know what? I was thinking about Arch Manning, and I was thinking of the exact same thing. I was like, if he was so good, he would have been starting day one over Quinn Ewers, and Quinn Ewers would have transferred somewhere. But he didn't. And they put him in a couple of situations, and to me, it told me that maybe Sark knew something that, like, yeah, he's just not ready. He's not reading the cues. But after that, Quinn Ewers could have stayed another year, went to the NFL. You're kind of stuck with him at that point, right? No backups on this one. Even with Oklahoma, you mentioned it. If Hawkins plays, if John Mateer plays, to me, it doesn't matter because I'm looking at the defense on this one. This Oklahoma team is the best defense that Texas will see all year. They allow 193 yards of total offense to their opponents, 2.4 yards per carry on the ground, 54% pass completion rate, 119 passing yards per game. They also have a 17.9% sack rate. Now, if a quarterback can't process quickly and he's getting pass rushed, that's dangerous territory for Arch Manning, right? This is pure adrenalized Venables defense that he's got going on there with the Sooners. And Oklahoma's defense holds their opponents to 181 yards below their offensive season average, too, if you want to take it a step further. No one scored more than 17 points versus Oklahoma's defense, and that includes teams like Auburn, electrified defense. And Michigan, they can score too, and they held them below 17 points. This is also the revenge angle element here. Oklahoma did lose. They got stomped last year by Texas, 34-3, 17-point dogs in that situation. Now they're a 1.5-point dog with a backup QB. Give me Oklahoma. Not even, I don't want the spread. I want the money line. Whatever the number is. They're going to thump this Texas team. And Texas, my God, is not good. They're out of the playoffs. We don't want to see you there. Goodbye. Good luck. Give me the Sooners all the way. All right.
Peace.
We gave you 4 of the top 25 looks. Now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, the dirtiest of the dirty, and we will start with coach's pick. Arkansas versus Tennessee. I guess this isn't too dirty.
Nah.
Maybe it is.
You know, it's an SEC game that, nobody's – I don't know.
But Nashville, Tennessee, and Neyland Stadium could be rocking in this one with the checkerboard. And, of course, Arkansas trying to figure out what to do with their season now that their leader, Sam Pittman, is bye-bye. I'll pass it to you, Coach. What do you think about this one?
Yes, sorry to see Sam Pittman go. Guy's a good coach, but sorry. Reminds me of one of my sayings that is there's no such thing as bad teams, only bad leaders. And it sucks, but you're not getting it done, and your team's terrible, especially on defense. So if you're going to attack this game, a couple angles that you could. One, of course, the over. Arkansas is terrible on defense. Bobby Petrino be the interim head coach, and who knows? They'll probably give him the job back, and then he can go ride a motorcycle and crash it again.
Was this his? I think this was his doing. This was his mentality.
Yeah.
Tricked Sam Pittman to bring him back.
Yep.
And he kind of weaseled his way back into the Arkansas job.
Yeah, it was like one of those, another one of those Jedi mind tricks, Hey, maybe I can get my job back. But anyway, Petrino came in and fired a bunch of defensive guys. So, are they is that going to fix everything? Arkansas is all of a sudden going to play some defense. You got the same dudes, you're going to play the same scheme. No, I don't think anything changes. So Tennessee, of course, is the number one scoring team in the country. Tennessee can be susceptible to giving up some points, and Arkansas can score. Taylor Green, the QB is legit. They run the ball like crazy. I think they average over 40 points a game. So, if you like the over, okay, maybe you lean there. I think it's one of the highest totals on the board, 62.5, I believe. If you like Tennessee, maybe it's Tennessee's team total. It's up there, though, about 38.5, 39.5 right now is at the good pricing. But I'm going to give you the best angle in this game, which if you didn't know, you should. So Josh Heupel has been a head coach at Tennessee, and before he was at Tennessee, he was at Central Florida, UCF now, I guess we have to call him. And through his career, he's Art Briles' disciple, and they run this veer and shoot offense. They spread the field, and they throw something deep called the deep choice route, and a few other things. But it's hard to defend, and it's really, especially early in a football game, teams got to get used to it before they can figure out what to do. So Josh Heupel, in his career, his teams in the first half are 42-17-2 against the first half spread. I played Tennessee in the first half. I actually played them a ton early last year, a few times this year, but this is the best look. You're getting an Arkansas team that they have to go on the road, interim head coach, blah, 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 the sky is falling, right? And they're going to come in, and like you said, Neyland Stadium's going to be rocking, the checkerboard, all that stuff. And I think Tennessee just comes out and bum rushes them early. So best pick, best play, Tennessee -6.5 in the first half.
Love that look. All right, let's get to some of the primetime games that everybody's going to be watching. It's going to be Thursday night. Let's go La Tech versus Kennesaw State. Come on now, boys. This is going to be a big game there at Fifth Third Stadium in Kennesaw, Georgia at 7 p.m. and I know everybody's going to watch Thursday night football or whatever the matchup's going to be, but my eyeballs are going to be on La Tech versus Kennesaw State. You have Kennesaw State 3-2 on the year. You have La Tech that's 4-1 on the year. They're off a bye week. And you have Kennesaw State, fourth leg of a 4-game homestand. So they're comfortable at home situationally. They are 3-0 in those spots with 2 conference wins. So this Kennesaw State, who was the doormat of college football last year, there ain't no doormat anymore going on over there. But La Tech, they're coming off a 30-11 win versus UTEP in their previous game, but the outcomes are a little bit misleading if you break down the box score. La Tech only put up 232 yards of total offense in that game. They lost the yardage battle to UTEP, minus 41 net yards. La Tech had 2 interception returns for touchdown, 3 other turnovers that were converted into 17 points. So 31 of their points, which is or whatever, 30 of their points, which is all of them, were because of turnovers. They didn't really get a legitimate got the ball from a punt, drive, nothing. This was all turnover football. Kennesaw State's offense is more of a running team anyway, 4.1 yards per carry. They could pass the ball, too, with QB Amari Odom, 71.1% pass completion rate, 9.3 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, 1 INT this year. He's legit. He's functional. He's productive. And he doesn't turn over the ball, which is very important. La Tech's defense has been exposed in the passing game, too. 281 yards of total offense to New Mexico State, 392 passing yards to Southern Miss. They have a weak pass rush as well, only a 4.6% sack rate. So maybe, just maybe, this Kennesaw State team will be passing the ball. And La Tech, I love fading them on the road. Bad road team historically, especially as a favorite. They are 1-8 ATS as a road favorite since 2020. Then you have the revenge angle there for Kennesaw State, losing the game 33-0 to La Tech on the road. They were 11.5-point road dogs in that situation. Now that line is dropping to 5 right now. So I think this Kennesaw State team gets it done. And might as well put a little Salt Bay on the money line on this one. Kennesaw State will get it done. That's my team this year. Give it to me all day long, but I'm going to take it on plus 6.5, the line that I got on that game. All right, baby. Let's get into some other ball. Let's go into the Big Ten. Iowa versus Wisconsin, the battle of the milkmaids, or the wheat herders. I don't even know what to even call them anymore out there in the Midwest. It's Big Ten football. It's greasy. It's grimy. You get some big farm boys banging at the line. What are your thoughts on this, Coach?
Yeah, you got corn against cheese.
That's right.
Yeah, country strong, right? Here's the deal. Like, if you want to watch this game at 7:00 on Saturday, like, if that's going to be your bedtime, just like put this one on. So this might be the lowest scoring game of the year. So if you like defense, this is a great football game to watch. Iowa and Wisconsin both very good defensively. Wisconsin actually 6th against the run. Iowa's a big, heavy run team. They're going to run a lot of outside zone. That's kind of their staple. But the big thing in this game, no starting quarterbacks. So Mark Gronowski's hurt for Iowa. And he really, even if he played in this, I'd still think the same, because he really hasn't. I don't know. He was an FCS stud, and we talked about him, and everybody raved about him, and I don't know. He hasn't shown me enough this season, but he does have a knee injury. He's dinged up a little bit. I don't think he'll play. On the other end, Wisconsin is no starter, no backup, and we got to go to QB number 3, which is Hunter Simmons. And he played okay last week. At least they scored 10 points, right? But that's the deal. Like, Wisconsin has scored 10, 10, and 14 points. So they have to be good defensively to stay in games. But, Luke Fickell, here's another guy he's a damn good football coach, but, he's sitting on a very, very hot seat because Wisconsin just can't score. And on the other end, I don't know that Iowa can do it either. So a couple ways to look at this. The total opened at 38.5, telling you, like, hey, this could be a low-scoring football game. And that total is now down to 35.5, Am I there yet at 35.5? I don't know. I think the better angle is to take a look at Wisconsin's team total. We actually played it last week. Before the game, you could get it at 13.5. I think by game time it was 12.5. And I haven't actually looked at the number yet. But this is something that I'm probably I'm leaning on it right now, and I'll probably get there by game time. But Wisconsin team total under.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Now, I'm going to give you guys some choices on my next pick, all right? You can either do one of three things. You can either watch Indiana and Oregon, which is, that's an okay game. You can watch the Red River Rivalry. That's a good game with Oklahoma and Texas. Or you can watch the MAC. You can watch Western Michigan go against Ball State. I mean, come on now. Waldo Stadium is going to be rocking in Kalamazoo, Michigan. This is a 3:30 game, and yes, you should put this on your big TV with the sound on and forget about these other big rivalry games in the top 10. You have Western Michigan 3-3 on the year off the road win versus UMass 21-3. Then you have Ball State. Not a good Ball State team, but they are off a big win. Kind of upset this Ohio team last week, 20-14. Kind of remarkable stuff. Now, now when you look at these two teams, they can't score points. Western Michigan has struggled scoring points versus conference opponents this year, only putting up 18 points per game, but their defense has been pretty solid in conference play, only allowing 8 points per game. Then you got Western Michigan defense. I said they're pretty solid. Last 3 games, holding opponents to under 300 yards of total offense. You need these where I go with my play on this. These two teams meet every single year. The over is 8-1 ATS last 9 meetings, but all those totals were 50 or more, somewhere in the 60s in that sample size. This total, 43.5, and it's dropping to 43. What does that tell you? It's going low, baby. These teams ain't scoring nothing here in the MAC. It's going to be it's going to feel like that Tuesday night MAC game that you put on the TV at 8 o'clock and the wind's blowing and the weather sucks and it's raining and the ball's slipping everywhere and nobody's scoring points. The kicker's missing wide right. It's going to be a low-scoring game on this one. Give me Ball State, Western Michigan under 43.5 as my other play. All right. We did it, folks. We gave you the 4 of the top 25. We gave you 4 more extra plays. You know what you need to do? As you're watching this video, you need to like and subscribe to the J.A. Cavalier channel and get to the comment section and drop a few comments as well. Also, you can check us out on Instagram, Why Lose Guns, Why Lose Coach, and you can check out our telegrams. Our links are in our bio. Deals all day. What do you got going on for deals coming up this college football weekend, Coach?
Same deal as usual. I'm going to have max bet Friday, max bet Saturday. Hit the max bet for last Friday, but not on Saturday, unfortunately. But we'll bounce back. But that max bet $49 along, and that'll include any best bets that I have. Usually on a Saturday, that's anywhere between 3 and 10 sometimes. Depends on the card, but currently 57, 58% college football right now, stacking up the wins. So $49 for the max bet. If it doesn't cash, you get 1 month of max bets and best bets for free.
Great stuff. And yes, I have a deal as well. $75. You can get my, we call it the Elite Football Week. If I don't make you 5 units, then you get a month of my place for free. Or you can get the month right now for $150 and just sign up. We are in the precipice of where I make a profit. Got over 5 units last week, got over 5 units the week prior, and I'm 6-1 on my max bets as well in college football and NFL combined this season. So you need to go check that out. The deals are on Telegram, links in the bio. And let's just have ourselves a damn football weekend. You can check us out on Sunday for the live show. And make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and support this show. Till next time, that concludes College Football Week 7. I am Gunz CFB. That's Coach Rick. Let's cash some tickets. Let's dominate the board. And as always, Coach,
Giddy up.
Ooh, let's keep dancing. I'm going to do the Red River Shootout. Ba-bang!
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation.